What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, the LowkeyLegend. How the fuck y'all doing today? I'm doing alright. Today I am back with a brand new video for you guys. Today we're jumping on board with another episode of Stoner Tips. This is going to be episode 113 of the Stoner Tips series. Today's topic, we are going to be covering conserving weed as a teenager. Alright, so if you guys do enjoy this video, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. It does go a super long way. I know I've been dropping a shit ton of stoner tips, but you guys seem to really be enjoying them. So anyways, man, let's dive right on into this shit. Episode 113, conserving weed as a teen. The number one tip I can give you guys out there for conserving weed, because this is going to be a very big topic for teenagers, simply because you guys probably aren't able to, a lot of you might not have a job and are smoking weed and, you know, go to school, maybe are still in high school or even middle school. So whatever the case is for you guys, when you pick up whatever amount you pick up, you're gonna want to have that shit last you for as long as you possibly can. And in this video, I'm gonna give you guys some tips on how to do that. The number one tip, grab as much as you can, because the more you grab at once is the better price you're gonna have to pay. So instead of grabbing a gram every single day, you guys, what I would recommend you guys to do is save up. And if you have to not smoke for a couple days, then so be it. But try to save up and grab at least an eighth, all right? Because in the long run, you can grab a gram a day for $10 a piece, or you could grab an eighth for $25 at once. So it all depends on how you guys are personally trying to move. If you don't want to grab that eighth, you can save up, grab a quad, and have that last you a lot longer than it normally would, an eighth or a gram. So another, one of the tips I'm going to give you guys is to invest in a one-hitter, okay? A lot of you guys out there might be rolling up blunts, and I'm not going to lie, it's a fun way to smoke, probably my personal best way to smoke. It's just so dope blowing smoke out of a blunt. Yeah, I get that, but if you're trying to be conservative with weed, rolling a blunt is not going to be the way to go, in my opinion. All right, it's just not, especially if you roll a blunt and smoke it in one sitting. All right, completely different. You don't need to smoke that much. I feel like a lot of you guys that are watching this might smoke a little too much. You guys might exceed the chart for having a nice decent high, because I was like that as well, man. I would roll a blunt, smoke the whole thing, all right? And that's not needed when you roll a blunt. If you roll a blunt, you could save that blunt for 2 to 3 sessions, different sessions, depending on how you want to manage it, all right? If you don't have the proper utensils to get yourself a one-hitter, I understand. They're hard to come across, especially as a teenager and you're not old enough to buy them, or whatever the case is. But definitely try to invest in one, simply because it's a lot easier to manage your weed. Or you guys can get a nice little small bowl, all right? When you have a bowl, pack a very minuscule amount of weed in that bowl, and then take a couple rips out of it. Take 1 or 2 rips. You don't really need to get as fried as you usually do, especially if you're blowing through an eighth, a day, going out with your guys, rolling up 4 or 5 different blunts throughout the day, and you realize you're kind of wasting money on this shit, dude. It's definitely going to fuck up your pockets a little bit, especially if you grab, like I said, an eighth a day or even a gram a day. The shit adds up, dude. So in my personal experience and my personal opinion for you guys, grab a good amount of weed and just chill on it. All right, this eighth, if you buy an eighth, it can easily last you a week, depending on how you smoke it. If you're going packing full bowls, you feel me, and just roasting that shit, blowing big smoke, it's gonna be hard to make that last as long as you want it to, simply because you're just inhaling so much shit. A very good tip as well is buy a dab cartridge. All right, if you guys are struggling with buying weed every day or every couple days, invest in a dab cartridge and use that for your own personal use. You could buy a dab cartridge from anywhere from $30 to $50. I'm pretty sure I'd never seen them around my neighborhood go for $50 now. When they first came around, they were going for $50, but now it's like a solid $30, $35, maybe $40 if they're taxing a little bit. But even that's a good price for a gram of wax in a cartridge. You can make that shit last you seriously a week, if not more, depending on how you smoke it. If you puff on that bitch 1 or 2 times a day, just get a nice fat rip out of it, and you will be completely like stoned out of your mind. I'm telling you right now, dude. Them things are definitely slept on, but I feel like they're becoming a little more relevant in this day and age, simply because they're being brought out a lot, being pushed more to marketing and sold a lot differently than they used to be. So try to get yourself invested in one of those as well. All you would need to buy is a battery for that, and then you can just puff on a dab cartridge. Again, the one hitters are super dope if you are still smoking dry herb. Pack that bitch up maybe once or twice, take a good solid rip out of it. Try to zero it if you can out of a one hitter, and then blow out, you know, after you know all that weed smoke is in your lungs. For sure, blow it all out, and you should be high at least enough to get you through a couple hours, you know. And if you have to consistently smoke every hour, every 2 hours, try to expand that time period from the sessions that you have to take per day. If you're taking 4 or 5 different sessions a day, try to tone that down to 1 or 2 or even 3. You know, it's gonna have to be a process you guys are gonna be willing to work with, especially if you want to conserve this weed. And it's gonna, especially if it's hard to get your hands on as much as, you know, a dude who has a job who can buy, you know, an ounce a week or however much a week, a half ounce a week, whatever the case is. Be conservative about it and make sure you know in your mind, maybe even when you buy your eighth, take shit out the bag for every day of the week. And then you know right there in each little individual bag that you have at your crib, or like just manage it out by nugs. Be like, all right, this nug I'll smoke today. And if you have enough nugs cracked up in your little jar, you could just take out a nug a day and smoke it that way and make it last you for as long as you need it to. That's going to be a super dope way as well. Obviously, like I said, invest in the one hitters. Just, it's all a mental thing when it comes down to it. If you see on your plate you have a large amount of weed, you're just going to want to smoke it. You know, you're going to roll up blunts, you're going to take fat bong rips, and those are the things you guys are going to want to tone down if you are trying to conserve your weed, especially as a teenager, man, because money's going to be hard to come across for a lot of you guys, and I've been there before as well, so I already know how the shit goes. But just try to be smart about it with whatever amount of weed you decide to grab. The more the merrier. All right, if you grab up to a quad, that's going to last you a lot longer than it would an eighth. You can make a quad last you like pretty much double the amount of time an eighth would. So, and you can get it for a lot cheaper. Not a lot cheaper, but you could definitely save $5, $10, maybe even $15 on a quad rather than picking up an 8. All right, it all depends on how your plug works at that point, but those are some pretty basic tips I can give you guys on conserving weed as a teenager. I know that that's going to be a kind of, you know, difficult task for some people, especially if you are a heavy stoner and you smoke multiple times a day. You guys are just gonna try to have to work with it and work with your body and learn to not smoke as much as you do, and eventually your body will tone up. If you take a couple day break while you're or a week break while you're saving up money to buy a good amount of weed to chill on, your body's gonna react differently once you start smoking again, especially out of a one hitter, or if you decide to roll up a blunt, roll up skimp blunts or start rolling up joints. I really wouldn't go the joints route simply because they burn a little too quick. If you roll up a blunt, even a skimp blunt, you can make that shit last you, you know, 2 or 3 days or 2 or 3 sessions, like I said before. So it's all personal preference in the end. In my honest opinion, I'd suggest buying a one hitter. If you can't get your hands on one of those though, try to go and get yourself a bowl or a nice super small bowl that you guys can rip out of and go that route. Rolling up blunts is cool and all, but in the long run, you're going to be wasting a good amount of weed on that shit, and that is not, you know, a good method of conserving weed at all. Other than that, man, I usually ramble on these stoner tips. There's not really much else I can give you guys. I got a couple other videos out on conserving weed, but this has just been another requested one I wanted to hit on real quick. So with all that being said, man, if I might have missed anything and you guys have some tips you personally can relate to, go ahead and drop them in the comments section so other people can learn off of this experience as well, and you know, a couple of the other tips you guys might have. Other than that though, bro, I don't really know what else to say in this video. I really hope that this helped at least one of you guys out there with conserving some weed, maybe opened your mind a little bit to how you could go about doing that. And if it did, man, my job is done. Smash the thumbs up button if you guys did enjoy. If you guys are new to the YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe, check out my YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram as well. It's going to be the first link in the description. I'm going to catch you guys though I'm gonna catch you guys though tomorrow though for a brand new video. So thanks for watching again. Y'all stay safe, stay savage, stay low key. It's your boy, the LowkeyLegend. I'm out of here, guys. Adios.